All right, guys, you know what I can't stand? I can't stand when I buy something and I'm expecting a certain level of quality. And then 2 days into using my brand new thing that I just bought on Amazon, it breaks. That really sucks. I hate it. What I want to talk about is quality standards. And can Scrum help? What do you think?
Yeah, let me jump in here with sort of the by the book answer, or the first thing I tell my students when we're in a Scrum training class. If there's a word association you should make, at least in the Scrum framework, definition of done, think quality. Quality, think definition of done. So in Scrum, we have this commitment to the increment called the definition of done. And people are like, why do we have to define done? Don't we all know what done is? And, if you're coming from a world where everybody has perfect clarity on what done means, like, man, show me a portal to that world. Because in my world, in my experience, in my career, I've heard a lot of conversations that go like this. Yeah, this thing is done. Great. Let's use it. Let's ship it. Let's do something with it. And then the backpedaling begins. Oh, well, hold on. When I said it was done, I meant it worked on my computer, which means, which then I ask, are we shipping your computer? Or I meant it's working, but it's not documented, or it's done, but it's not done. I hate those conversations. They're frustrating. You can just kind of hear trust being flushed down the toilet in those scenarios. It's just having a clear definition of what is our quality standard and having a clear binary state. Is it either done, therefore it's ready to ship or release to our customers, or it's not done? This creates clarity, it creates trust, and it's something that we can look at and augment over time. Maybe our quality standard needs to grow as we move into different areas, or we add new features, or we add whatever. It doesn't mean it's done. The definition of done is set in stone for all time. We can adapt it just like we can adapt anything else in Scrum. But it creates that clarity, it creates that trust. If my team member is saying something is done, we are on the same page of what that means. Or if I'm a stakeholder and a Scrum team is saying, hey, here's the done increment, let's inspect it together. There's no well, what exactly do you mean by that? It's just we're all on the same page. So when it comes to Scrum, I think quality begins with the definition of done, and that's really important to get right.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. I mean, diving more into this idea of definition of done, what's on the definition of done? Let's say, assume you're building something technical, like software. I mean, that's kind of a lot of my background. Even in hardware, you're doing things that are very difficult to change sometimes, and you want to get things right, and you don't want to have a lot of things broken all the time and have to go back and revisit quality that you maybe missed in the beginning. So let's talk about this concept called mistake proofing. So the concept of mistake proofing is basically make it impossible to make a mistake. Because we all know mistakes are annoying and you have to then go back and it disrupts your timelines, and then it's expensive sometimes to fix things after you've made the mistake. So let's just make it impossible to make mistakes. Lots of ways you can do this. An example I read about once was used in a manufacturing setting. If you're making little toy cars, imagine, it's now your turn to put the wheels onto that little car, and then you got to push it forward. But, you're talking to your friends while you're doing it, and you forget a fourth wheel. It gets all the way down to the end, and they're packaging it up, and they go, hey, wait a minute, this is missing a wheel. Then they got to send it back down to you, and you got to stop what you're doing, and you got to put that wheel back on and send it all the way down again. Bad idea. And so a process could be something like count 4 wheels first, put them into a bucket. Then from there, pull the wheels and put them onto the car. That way when you run out of wheels, you're done. That's very simple. That's manufacturing. Let's talk about something more complex. Test-driven development. When you write a test for software you haven't yet written, you're making a lot of statements like, I know what that method is going to do, I know what parameters it's going to take, and I know what it's going to look like when it works because I have a test that's waiting for it to pass. Then you go write that code, and it meets the standard, it meets what you expect to throw in, it kicks out what you expect it to, and when that code is working and that test passes, we're making progress in a way that prevents us from making mistakes because we're thinking about quality a little bit more in the beginning. So, think about mistake proofing, look into test-driven development. There's lots of great ideas there that help with mistake proofing. And I'll even make a book recommendation by, I believe it's Michael Feathers, Working with Legacy Code. Great book, especially if you're working with stuff that isn't greenfield.
Greenfield. My imagination just starts to drift. Greenfield. Like I'm in a luscious field, like seeing blue sky and sunshine.
Frolicking through a meadow.
Frolicking through a meadow. I'm going to pivot. Sorry, that was very random. I'm going to pivot and get to the human side of quality. And the human side of quality, what I mean by that is I think this all starts with the intent towards the end user and trying to comprehend who's going to benefit or receive what it is that you're working on today. I don't know if it's an epidemic necessarily, because that's I think that might be a little bit more hyperbole than's necessary. But there's definitely some trend since the pandemic, since everyone's kind of gone into their hidey hole to do their things. They've worked remotely, turned off their cameras, and go just focus on their stuff, to where there's not really a comprehension beyond my own sphere. So my work, my checkbox, my work done. You go into a retrospective and all I think about is what worked for me, what didn't work for me. I don't really think about what worked for us, what will work for us. When we get into that opportunity for improvement, oftentimes quality is never part of the conversation for improvement. So we're using Scrum as our context for this conversation. A massive part of improvement is improvement towards quality. So bring this back to the human component here. If I'm thinking about Jason and I'm thinking about Rob, what I do today needs to be cognizant of their participation later. If they're going to be helping build this and I'm doing this out of like, well, I'm just going to brute force get this thing done so I feel good about the task being over. But Jason and Rob come back in later and say, what the heck is this mess that Greg just made? And I'm like, but it technically works, is not going to satisfy this idea of quality in the future. Let me back that further and say, let's not even talk about quality. Let's just talk about professionalism. Was that professional for me to do that? My job was done. Was it ethical for me to do that? Ooh, that's a stretch. But if we think about how these things cascade, we can end up creating bigger problems that could be starting by simply saying, do I have enough respect and commitment to those that I'm working with? Yeah, Scrum values. Do I have focus on the things that are truly going to matter when we build this product together collaboratively? Because if I'm thinking through that mindset of accountability, professionalism, respect, commitment, those things are going to bundle up into a propensity for wanting to improve quality. We can't help it. It's almost like a default. So what's cool is y'all referred to the definition of done, the formal commitment that exists within the framework to help us with that. But if we start with a mindset, start with an attitude, start with the human perspective that says it's more than just about me and my job or me getting my tasks done, I think we're going to see, as a rule, organically, us wanting to define what done looks like, to improve what quality means, and then we're going to see that in return with our customers saying, I like your product. And when I see it on Amazon, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to put a good review, and more people are going to also want to purchase this. So hopefully we'll see a cascade effect. Start with the human perspective and work more towards an organic type of evolution towards quality.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. Did you like what you heard? If so, you're going to love our Scrum classes. See, not only do we talk about these ideas on YouTube, we're also professional Scrum trainers, and we'd love to have you in one of our classes. So if you need to level up as a Scrum Master or a product owner, maybe you need to learn how to scale Scrum or combine Kanban or UX with Scrum, click the link in our description and you'll find a list of our upcoming classes.
If this is your first time to our channel and you're interested in growing in your agility and understanding things like Scrum and other agile topics, then be sure to get started by subscribing right now and hit that alert button. I don't want you to miss the thing.